Well, you probably saw that video I filmed the other day of the heifers and dry cows out in the field. I had them out. It was very wet down there. Anyway, we've just taken the decision now to bring them back in. I probably should have brought them in the other day, but it was just a case of we weren't really ready for them. We're not quite ready for them now, to be honest, because it's a little bit earlier than we'd normally bring them in. So I'm just opening the shed now. Wedge that block there underneath. Let's have a look. So this is our heifer shed. There's a big pile of, that was a broken bale I broke when I was moving it with the loader. Just dumped that there. I've got 4. I'm going to shift those out of there. So I've still got a pig tub there. That was the water butt for the pigs. And the stain, what's that doing there? Check that out. Still got that, that's still bolted to the side. That was for the pigs. And then I've got, oh crikey, I've got more than I thought. 12, 13, 14 bales of straw. So we're going to move these out of here. And then we're going to go and get them. I'll might just get the loader and just shift those, and then we're going to move the cattle up here. Right, bit of a cock up there. I just caught the string on the bale. I've broken it. I've only got one string left on it. You might have noticed it fell off. That bale there, there's nowhere moving that out of here. So that's going to have to be bedding for here. Which it's not the end of the world, because I need to bed this down. The only difference is I would have put wheat straw in here rather than barley, because I feed the barley to the heifers. But to be honest, I can lose one in here. These other ones will have to move, so I'm going to have to shunt that to one side. We carry on moving these, and then bed down with it in a bit. Just stacking these at various places around the farm. It's not easy to find a lot of room at this time of year. I know if some of you saw, I had that topper delivered the other day, really kind from that guy Chris, he brought it to me. And some people were moaning I hadn't put it in undercover. What they don't really realise is that it was short notice. I didn't know Chris was going to bring that until about a day before he's going to bring it. But also I haven't got anywhere to put it. I could put it down the fields, in the lower fields where there's a barn, but the ground's so wet I don't want to drive down there with a tractor with anything on it at the moment, and I've got stuff in that barn that would need rejigging, so it was put outside for temporary measures, and then I will sort that out. I'll give it a coat of paint, I'll treat it nicely, so it is going in undercover. But it's the same with these bales. At the moment my sheds are full. In the summer I got loads of space. Summer, in the winter, you know, you start off when you've got your most of everything. You start off with your most amount of bales, silage, all your cattle inside, well, as many as the implements under cover as I can. And it's only as you get through all your straw and your silage, and you create a bit more space. And that's exactly it with these bales. At the moment I'm at peak capacity of storage of straw and everything, and I will be in about an hour's time full up with cattle. But so I'm dotting these bales around until they get used. So I've got 4 in there, I'll probably put 4 more somewhere else. Anyway, we'll get there in the end. Start a proper winter when I get everything inside. The battery's nearly flat on here. I'm going to have to switch the phone in a minute. Last bale now, and on the last dregs of this battery, so I'm gonna have to switch to my phone in a minute, as I alluded to earlier. I haven't planned it very well. Didn't charge my camera batteries up. Can't always get it right. So I'm putting this bale down here, last one, then I'm going to spread that other one out, and then we're going to go off and get the cows in the field. Now, as you well know, my brother's not a fan of this video, so I will struggle to get any footage of us getting the cows in without my brother being around to be grumpy. So I do what I can. A little bit of rough footage on my phone perhaps, but anyway, so we're sorting one shed out this morning. Basically the problem is we haven't got enough time to get them up and get everything sorted between the milking and feeding and everything. So the dry cow, that's the heifer shed really. This is what we call the dry cow shed. Which is where all the dry cattle that are in with the heifers will go. But you probably can't see very well. I've still got to sort out a horse box, move the cattle tractor, move the straw, put a barrier up there, stop the cattle munching on the bales of hay we got stacked there. So I think what we'll do is we're going to bunch all the cattle up into one shed for today, which will be really crowded. I think there'll be 27 in there. And then tomorrow morning, when we've got a bit of time, we can tomorrow morning we'll sort them out and we'll split them into bunches where they need to go. So some young ones will go round there. The older heifers will stay in what we call the barrier shed. It was the first shed we ever owned with a barrier in it. That's why we called it the barrier shed. Back in the 1970s when we got it, it was like, whoa, we got a shed with steel barriers in it. So it's always been called the barrier shed, and we all know what it means. There's the barriers. Can you see those? So it's quite funny really, because those are normal feed barriers, but when we put this shed in, it was kind of early days of that sort of tech, and people hadn't had many sheds. Everyone puts feed barriers in now, don't they? But when we put that one in, it was quite a big deal. And we called it the barrier shed. I expect everyone, everyone knows their own farm, don't they? They have their own names for either for buildings or for fields, because obviously you need to identify your field. So we've also got names for our sheds. So this is a barrier shed, the other one's a dry cow shed, backyard, bottom yard. A bit confusing, we've got actually 2 yards we call backyard. Backyard is where we put the roof over last autumn, but also backyard is the bit round the back of the milking parlour. My dad used to call the yard by the collecting yard, he used to call that the rick yard, because when he was a lad, there were hay ricks in there, the ones that you had thatched roofs on, that people used to make out of loose hay they used to get from the field. But I haven't called it that rick yard for years, because primarily I've never seen a rick in that yard, whereas my dad did. Obviously that's a bit of history. Right, I'm making a bit of a pig's ear of this. It might be better if I just kick it around with my feet, this straw. Not always the way. You try and do things with machinery, sometimes it's easier to get out and move the bale. Right. Right, we're going to go and get them up in a minute anyway. I'll just move this out of the way of here. And then we'll see how we go. I think my camera's steaming up. It is. I've had this happen before. If you get a cold day and if it's got a bit of damp on it, it steams up. Right, let's just park this up here. Here we go, Looby Loo. So I'm not too worried about moving all this straw actually, because the thing about the cattle is when they come in here, they'll jiggy it all up. So you end up, you can shake it all out, but actually, do you know what? When they run around in here, they'll do that job for you. Just big flaps need moving. They don't want to be all in one spot. Oh, right. So, got a good spread of straw here. They will run around here. There's a big pile there. There's probably too big. Don't want any string in it either, because that'll get caught in the muck spreader. Come on. Any string gets everywhere, doesn't it? Big chunky stuff as well. Right. So, let's leave that there. We're going to go and get the cow. Next time you see this shed, it'll have some in it. Anyway, I've just pushed up this straw here as well for bedding. That can be done tomorrow. I'm going to put a silage bale there. So it's going to be rammed in here today. But after today, it should be okay. I am going to have to get on and sort myself out with those boards. We need Yorkshire board in there, no doubt about it. This shed is very good in the 1970s, as I said. They designed it differently then. They didn't worry about ventilation like they do now. So we've got this slatted green stuff, look. And it's supposed to have these slots in, but they soon fill with dust. And the idea is the air comes through there, but it doesn't really. So the ventilation in this shed isn't great. There is enough air gap with it coming over the door here, but the other sheds we've got are much nicer. So I keep talking about changing some of that to Yorkshire boarding, and I just don't get round to it. So realistically, I think that's a job for me and Hazza in the summer. It's funny, isn't it? It takes a while for the kids to get big enough, and then suddenly you realise how useful they can be, because it's a two-man job. Ooh, anyway, I better go. Right, that's my brother coming back. He's going to be here in a minute, so we're going to head on down and get those bales. But as I was saying, with the Yorkshire boarding, I really need to do it. I really do. It's just what, just never seems to be enough time. And if maybe I just need to order up some Yorkshire boarding and get it here, and then it'll happen. You know what it's like? It just doesn't happen when you... I think what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to take out just a section, see how it goes. Those are just sheets, and we could probably strap a couple of pieces of wood to that concrete upright there. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, and we could probably nail Yorkshire boarding to it, or screw it to it, just to see how it goes. But it's going to need a piece of wood at the top as well, isn't it? There's nothing really to nail it to. I'm not quite sure. Well, actually, these hooks here seem to hold it onto that gutter there. We might be able to do something like that with the Yorkshire boarding. Drill holes in it. I don't know. It's something I should have done 20 years ago. Right, we're going to go and get these cattle now. Get them in here.